Right, so this is my presentation. My name is Thomas Peter Leonardi, and I'm presenting Nike in China. All right, so it begins with learning outcome. So, what are the learning outcomes of this presentation is to explain and analyze Nike in China as multinational corporations. Okay, let's start with the definition of multinational corporation first. So, a multinational corporation is a business entity that operates and earns revenue in multiple countries beyond its home nation, typically maintaining a parent company in one country while managing subsidiaries, branches, or joint ventures in various host countries. MNCs are formally defined as business entities with one or more foreign affiliates, in which the parent company holds at least a 10% ownership stake, with most foreign affiliates being 100% owned by their parents. These corporations are characterized by their global reach, diverse operations, and significant influence on international trade and economic development, often wielding more economic power than entire nations. The primary objective of multinational corporation is to maximize profits by leveraging resources, labor, and markets across different geographical locations while coordinating complex organizational structures across multiple jurisdictions. China. Nike's strategic expansion in China represents a comprehensive approach to penetrating one of the world's largest sportswear markets. As we know that China is the second largest country with population, the company entered the Chinese market in the late 1970s and early 1980s, establishing a foundation that has evolved into sophisticated localization strategy. In 2024, Nike demonstrated its commitment to the Chinese market by posting a 6% year-on-year sales growth to 2.08 billion in the third quarter of fiscal year 2024, marking the sixth consecutive quarterly rise for the sportswear company. Nike's current expansion strategy centers on hyper-localized innovation, rapid market responsiveness. The company has invested more than 2 billion yuan in its technology center in Shenzhen, Guangdong province, and established the Nike Sport Research Lab to develop China-specific products. CEO John Donahoe emphasized that China is a very important market for Nike. It always been and always will be. We're committed to investing in China more in the future. Okay, so who plays the role in Nike's expansion? So, Nike's expansion in China involves complex stakeholder relationship across multiple governance levels. The Chinese government plays a crucial role through regulatory frameworks, labor policies, and trade regulations that directly impact Nike's operation. Government support for sports development and healthy lifestyles has created favorable conditions, with officials encouraging sport participation and the rise of Generation Z as the most active generation ever. Local retail partners represent critical stakeholders in Nike distribution strategy. The company's hybrid retail presence spans 70,000 owned stores and partnerships with major e-commerce platforms like Alibaba, Tmall. Under the Win Now strategy, Nike is rebuilding relationship with domestic wholesale giants like Poucheng and Top Sports. Those extensive distribution networks are vital for penetrating lower-tier cities where over 70% of China's population resides. Okay, so although Nike is one of the biggest multinational corporations in China, they still face lots of company challenges, opportunities, and threats. For example, challenges for Nike is faces formidable challenges in China's evolving sportswear landscape. The rise of domestic competitors has significantly altered market's dynamics, with local brands like Anta Sports achieving 16.2% market share in 2021, surpassing Adidas at 14.8% and approaching Nike's 25.2% market leadership. The Guochao national trend movement has accelerated consumer preference shifts toward homegrown brands, particularly among younger Chinese buyers who increasingly view domestic companies are as more aligned with their principles. Supply chain vulnerabilities and geopolitical tension have also created operational challenge. The company experienced a 21% revenue decline in China during certain periods, highlighting the impact of political and practical factors on foreign brands. Additionally, Nike faces pressure from rising production costs and the need to navigate China's complex regulatory environment. And the opportunities for Nike is, despite challenges, significant opportunities exist for Nike in China. The country's sportswear market demonstrated remarkable resilience with total retail sales growing 12.9% year on year to 1.4 trillion yuan in 2023, driven by increasing health consciousness and large-scale sporting events. Government initiatives like the Outdoor Sports Industry Development Plan from 2022 to 2035 have created supportive conditions for market growth. Nike's focus on Generation Z and female consumers presents substantial growth potential as this demographic show strong engagement with digital platforms and health-conscious lifestyle. The company investments in digitalization and e-commerce has proven successful, with Nike China topping best sellers in the sports category on Tmall during the 618 shopping festivals. The primary threats for Nike's Chinese operations comes from intensifying local competition and changing consumer preferences. Domestic brands have successfully leveraged patriotic marketing and cultural relevance to gain market share. Economic challenges, including sluggish global growth and China's internal restructuring, have particularly impacted the mass market segment. Okay, Nike's motives and the only framework by Dunnings is very aligned with this theory for Nike expansion in China. So the ownership advantage. Nike possesses strong proprietary assets, including its globally recognized brand, patent air technology, and innovative design capabilities. The company's investment in research and development and technological innovation provides sustainable competitive advantage, as evidenced by its ability to hyper-localize global innovation for Chinese markets. And the location advantage. China offers Nike significant locational benefits, including a large and growing consumer market, advanced manufacturing infrastructure, and skilled labor resources. The country's leadership in alternative energy adoption provides Nike with advantages in reducing its carbon footprint during transportation and manufacturing. China's position as the world's second largest sportswear market, poised to overtake the US by 2023, makes it strategically essential for Nike's global growth. Internalization advantages. Nike maintains control over its value chain through direct investment in technology centers, research labs, and infrastructure. This internalization allows Nike to protect its intellectual property, ensure quality standards, and respond rapidly to local market dynamics while maintaining global brand consistency. Okay, so now this is a value chain connection to diamond theory. So Nike's value chain in China demonstrates integration across multiple stages of operations. Inbound logistics involve global sourcing through over 700 factories in 42 countries, with strategic suppliers in China reducing energy consumption by 19% from 2015 to 2018. Operations include advanced manufacturing technologies, Nike's investment in automation through the Automated Storage and Retrieval System, ISRS, in its China Logistical Center. And the connection to Porter's diamond theory is Nike's competitive advantage in China benefits from favorable diamond condition. Factor conditions include access to skilled manufacturing labor, advanced technological infrastructure, and Nike's substantial investment in local research and development capabilities. Demand conditions reflect China growing middle class with increasing health consciousness and government support for sport participation. Related and supporting industries encompass a robust ecosystem of suppliers, logistics providers, and retail partners that enable Nike's operations. Firm strategy, structure, and rivalry demonstrate Nike's adaptive organizational approach with decentralized decision-making through local innovation centers and competitive responses to domestic rivals. Okay, so now the correlation with Nike's with the Porter's five forces using this theory in the Chinese market. At first is the bargaining power of suppliers. The bargaining power suppliers in China's sportswear industry is moderate to high due to the limited number of specialized suppliers for high performance materials. Approximately 40% of specialty materials market share is controlled by top suppliers, giving them significant pricing power. Like Nike's dependence on raw material quality means that 25% of production costs are attributed to sourcing high quality materials, making supplier relationship critical. And the bargaining power of buyers. Chinese consumers demonstrate high bargaining power due to abundant choice among competing brands and increasing price sensitivity. The rise of domestic alternatives has strengthened consumer negotiating position, forcing international brands to compete more aggressively on price and value proposition. And threats of new entrants. The threats of new entrants is moderate, as significant barriers exist, including capital requirements, brand recognition needs, and established distribution networks. However, the success of local brands like Anta and Li-Ning demonstrates that new entrants can successfully challenge established players through cultural relevance and innovation. And the trade of substitutes is high, with numerous local and international alternatives available to Chinese consumers. The Guochao movement has particularly strengthened domestic substitutes, with brands like Anta achieving record high revenue of 29.65 billion yuan in the first half of 2023. And the industry rivalry in China's sportswear market is intense, characterized by a seesaw effect between global giants and domestic rivals. The competition extends beyond price to include cultural relevance, innovation, and brand authenticity. And now for the competitor analysis of Nike in China is Puma and Li-Ning. So Puma represents Nike's significant international competitor in the Chinese market, implementing a comprehensive China for China strategy. that has yielded impressive results. The German sportswear giant achieved remarkable 90% growth in fiscal year 2023 in China, marking four consecutive quarter for expansion in a highly competitive market. Despite maintaining its position as the world's third largest sports brand globally, Puma faces considerable challenges in China where it currently generates only about 5% of its total revenue. Compared to Nike and Adidas, which derive approximately 20% of their revenues from the Chinese market. And for the local brands in China is Li-Ning, which is very competitive against Nike. Li-Ning represents the most formidable domestic competitor to Nike in China, leveraging national pride and cultural authenticity to challenge international brands' dominance. Founded in 1990 by Chinese Olympic gymnastics champion Li-Ning, the company has evolved into a significant market player with 8.2% market share as of 2021, ranking fourth behind Nike, 25.2%, and Anta 16.2%, and Adidas 14.8%. Okay, finally, the conclusion for Nike's journey in China exemplifies the complexities multinational corporations face when expanding into culturally distinct and highly competitive markets. The company evolutions from a traditional international brand to a locally adapted market leader demonstrate the critical importance of cultural sensitivity, stakeholder engagement, and strategic flexibility in multinational corporation operations. This analysis reveals that success in China requires more than global brand recognition and superior products. It demands a deep cultural integration, responsive innovation, and authentic local engagement. Nike's Win Now strategy represents a paradigmatic shift toward hyperlocalization while maintaining global operational excellence. Moving forward, Nike's China success in China will depend on its ability to balance global consistency with local relevance, maintain innovation leadership while respecting cultural values, and build authentic relationship with the Chinese consumer and stakeholders. The company's substantial investment in local capabilities and commitment to long-term market development position it well for continued growth, provided it remains agile in responding to evolving market dynamics and consumer expectations.